Deep in the misty waters of the Scottish Highlands, legends tell of a creature that waits beneath the surface. A shapeshifter, a predator, a beast that lures the unsuspecting to a watery grave. They call it the Kelpie, the water horse. But is this mysterious entity a myth born from ancient fears of the deep, or does it belong among the ranks of cryptids still reported today? Tonight, on Cryptid Files, we dive into the haunting legend of the Kelpie. The Kelpie comes to us from Scottish folklore. Its name derived from the Gaelic Kelpie or Colpac, meaning heifer or colt. In the old stories, the Kelpie was no ordinary horse. It was a water-dwelling shapeshifter that could appear as a beautiful steed grazing by the riverbank. But any who dared to mount the horse would find themselves stuck fast, unable to let go, as the creature plunged into the depths, dragging its rider beneath the surface to drown. In some tales, the Kelpie took human form, appearing as a handsome man or alluring woman, attempting to lure travelers closer to the water. Its deception was flawless, save for one detail: its hair, always wet and dripping, no matter the form it wore. The Kelpie is most closely tied to rivers and streams across Scotland. Almost every large body of water had a story of a water horse. Loch Ness, before it became famous for Nessie, was once said to be the home of a great Kelpie. These stories were not simply told for entertainment, they served as warnings. In rural Scotland, where rivers and lochs could be deadly, the Kelpie embodied the danger of the water itself. Children were warned to stay away from the riverbank at night, lest the Kelpie snatch them away. Other regions had variations. In the Orkney Islands, there was the Nuggle. In the Isle of Man, the Caballoshti. Each version carried the same theme: an irresistible horse or figure near water, ending in tragedy. Chilling encounters and tales. One tale speaks of 10 children who found a beautiful black horse standing by the river. 9 of them climbed onto its back, but when the 10th touched its mane, his hand became stuck. Realizing the danger, he cut off his own hand and escaped, while the others screamed as the Kelpie plunged into the depths with them still attached. Another legend tells of a Kelpie that transformed into a man to seduce a young woman. She noticed strands of river weeds in his hair and fled before he could drag her to the loch. These stories aren't just fairy tales. For locals in the Highlands, they were serious warnings passed from one generation to the next. The Kelpie was feared, respected, and sometimes even worshipped as a spirit of the water. Beyond the horror, the Kelpie represents something deeper. In Celtic tradition, water was both life-giving and dangerous. The Kelpie embodied that duality, the beauty and power of nature and its unforgiving cruelty. The shape-shifting aspect also reflects human temptation. The Kelpie lures victims through desire, the promise of a majestic horse or the beauty of a stranger. In every case, yielding to temptation leads to ruin. This is why many scholars argue the Kelpie was never just a monster, but a symbol, a reminder that beneath beauty often lies danger. Is the Kelpie a cryptid? Here is where the discussion deepens. The Kelpie is most often considered mythological, yet cryptozoologists argue that it fits the definition of a cryptid. Eyewitness reports, consistency across multiple regions, and alleged encounters give it weight beyond pure fiction. Some theorists suggest the Kelpie myths may have originated from real animal sightings. Could people have mistaken seals, horses crossing rivers, or even unknown aquatic animals for supernatural beings? Others argue the Kelpie is part of a wider phenomenon, shapeshifters and water spirits reported in cultures around the world. In Scandinavia, the Beckerhast. In Ireland, the Ichu Whiskers. In Japan, the Kappa, different names, same theme, water beings that lure and kill. So, is this simply cultural storytelling, or evidence of something hidden in our waters, reported under different names? Modern sightings and survival of the legend. Even in modern times, reports of strange figures near rivers in Scotland occasionally surface. Fishermen claim to see shapes moving beneath the water, far too large to be ordinary fish. Some hikers report hearing the sound of hoofbeats by rivers, only to find no tracks on the muddy banks. And then, of course, there is Loch Ness. Though Nessie has her own identity, some researchers argue she is the latest evolution of the Kelpie legend, a water horse reshaped by modern imagination into a plesiosaur-like cryptid. Whether or not anyone truly believes in the Kelpie today, its legend survives. In artwork, literature, and even modern fantasy games, the Kelpie still appears. Its story remains compelling because it speaks to universal fears, the lure of beauty, the power of nature, and the danger of the unknown. Cultural impact. Tourism in Scotland often embraces the Kelpie myth. Monumental sculptures known as the Kelpies stand in Falkirk depicting massive horse heads rising from the water, a tribute to both folklore and the role of horses in Scottish history. Writers like Robert Burns and Sir Walter Scott reference the Kelpie in their works, keeping the legend alive through literature. Today, movies, TV shows, and fantasy novels continue to use the water horse as inspiration for shape-shifting monsters and tragic spirits. The Kelpie has transcended folklore. It is now part of global culture, proof of how enduring a single story can be when tied to the forces of nature. Conclusion. So, what do we make of the Kelpie? A shape-shifting spirit, a cryptid lurking beneath the lochs and rivers of Scotland, or simply a myth born of fear and respect for the power of water? The truth, as always, remains elusive, but whether legend, symbol, or cryptid, the Kelpie endures as one of the most haunting stories of the Celtic world. And perhaps, next time you walk by a riverbank at night and hear the sound of hooves in the mist, you'll think twice before drawing closer.